Hello all, for years I was stuck on a hamster wheel. My income would go up, but somehow so would my expenses. I was making good money, but I wasn't getting any wealthier. The idea of saving 10% felt like a struggle. Saving 20% felt impossible. And the idea of saving 50% of my income? That sounded like a cruel joke reserved for CEOs and tech billionaires. But then something shifted. I realized that financial freedom wasn't about earning more, it was about keeping more. It was about redesigning my life with intention. This is the story of how I went from saving almost nothing to consistently saving over half of my income. And I did it without an astronomical salary. I'm going to give you the complete, honest breakdown, the mindset shifts, the budget, the sacrifices, and the systems that made it not just possible, but sustainable. If you feel like you're running in place, this is your guide to getting off the wheel. Let's get started. Before we talk about the numbers, we have to talk about the mindset. The reason most people can't save is because they view it as deprivation. It's about what you can't have. A 50% savings rate is impossible with that mindset. The shift is to see saving not as deprivation, but as alignment. It's about aligning your spending with what truly brings you joy and value. I realized I was spending hundreds of dollars a month on things that did unactually make me happy. The expensive lunches, the mindless online shopping, the subscriptions I never used. It wasn't about becoming a cheapskate. It was about becoming an intentionalist. I decided to spend extravagantly on the things I loved and cut mercilessly on the things I didn't. Saving 50% wasn't a punishment. It was the profit I was paying myself after running my life like an efficient business. It was the ultimate act of buying back my future freedom. So where did I start? I started with the end in mind. I asked myself if I could wave a magic wand and have any job in the world, what would it look like? The answer was clear. I wanted the freedom to choose projects that I found genuinely interesting, not those that just paid the bills. I wanted a career that brought me joy, not just money. This is my point. Don't think of financial freedom as a means to an end. Think of it as an end in itself. Don't sacrifice your happiness and fulfillment at the altar of wealth. Instead, use wealth as a tool to enhance your life, not dominate it. To realize this dream, I needed to rewrite the rules of my financial life. I had to become my own banker, setting my own terms, making my own rules. And it began with one fundamental shift: saving 50% of my income. Why 50%? Because it gave me the financial freedom to pursue what I truly valued. No longer would I be chained to a job I didn't love just for the sake of a paycheck. But here's the thing. It's not just about the number, it's about what that number represents. It's about shifting your mindset from scarcity to abundance. Scarcity thinking makes you feel like you have to spend every dollar today because you might not have it tomorrow. Abundance thinking allows you to save and invest for a future that you want to create. Now, I know what you're thinking. 50% sounds impossible, especially if you're living paycheck to paycheck. But let me tell you something. I've been in your shoes. When my wife and I got married, we were making less than $60,000 a year. And saving 50% seemed like a distant dream. You don't have to start at 50%. Start with 10%. Then push it to 15%. But the key is to start optimizing the big three and to build the habit of paying yourself first. So how did I do it on a modest income? By questioning everything. I challenged each expense, each subscription, each automatic deduction from my paycheck. I asked myself, does this bring me joy? Does it align with my values, or is it just noise? And I cut mercilessly. I canceled gym memberships I wasn't using. I switched to a more affordable phone plan. I stopped buying clothes on impulse. It wasn't about deprivation. It was about intention. In fact, I spent more freely on the things that mattered most to me. I upgraded my camera equipment so I could capture beautiful memories. I bought experiences, concerts, road trips. These things brought me joy and value, and I was willing to pay for them. I also tackled the three biggest expenses in most people's budgets: housing, transportation, and food. The housing hack, this is the biggest lever. The rule of thumb is to keep housing under 30% of your income. I aimed for 20%. I did this by getting roommates. This single decision freed up hundreds of dollars a month. It was the foundational move that made everything else possible. It wasn't about a smaller house. It was about a bigger life. The transportation takedown, the second monster is the car. The average new car payment is over $700 a month, not including insurance, gas, and maintenance. It's a wealth-destroying machine. My strategy was to buy a reliable, used car with cash. This eliminated a car payment entirely. This wasn't just about the payment. It was about cheaper insurance, cheaper repairs. The savings snowballed, freeing up another huge chunk of my income. The food philosophy, the final beast is food. The average person spends hundreds, if not thousands, on restaurant, delivery, and convenience foods. I adopted a simple rule. I cooked 90% of my meals at home. I'd planned my meals for the week, bought groceries with a list, and packed my lunch every single day. This didn't mean I never went out. It meant that when I did, it was an intentional treat, not a default because I was lazy. This strategy easily saved me over $400 a month. By optimizing just these three categories, I was already most of the way to my 50% savings goal. This is the core of the strategy. Fix the big things, and the small things take care of themselves. With the big three handled, I applied a ruthless but reasonable approach to everything else. I audited all my subscriptions and canceled anything I wasn't using regularly. I implemented a 48-hour waiting period for any non-essential online purchase over $50. For entertainment, I focused on low-cost or free activities, hiking, libraries, game nights with friends instead of expensive concerts or bar tabs. But this wasn't about manual tracking forever. The key to sustainability is automation. I built a system. My 50% savings was automatically transferred to my investment accounts the day I got paid. It was gone before I could touch it. I paid my bills automatically. What was left in my checking account was my guilt-free spending money for the month. The system ran itself. It wasn't about willpower. It was about smart design. Let's address the big objections. Question 1. This is impossible if you have kids or live in a high cost of living city. It's definitely harder, but the principles are the same. It just means you have to be even more aggressive on the big three. It might mean choosing a smaller home in a great school district or making the tough choice to be a one-car family. The math is the math. The levers are the same. Question 2. Did you feel like you were missing out? Honestly, in the beginning, yes. But then I realized I was trading short-term, mindless consumption for long-term, meaningful freedom. The feeling of seeing my net worth grow every month was far more satisfying than any impulse purchase. Question 3. What did you do with the 50% you saved? I didn't just let it sit in a savings account. I invested it in low-cost, diversified index funds inside my Roth IRA and brokerage account, putting that money to work to build even more wealth. Saving is the first step. Investing is the second. Saving 50% of your income is not a fantasy. It is a choice. It's a series of intentional choices to align your life with your deepest values, not with society's expectations. If this story has shown you what's possible, please hit that like button. It's the best way to help this video inspire someone else who feels stuck on the wheel. And to continue learning the strategies for building intentional wealth, make sure you are subscribed and have the notification bell on. Finally, in the comments below, share the number one expense that you think is holding you back from your savings goals. Let's brainstorm solutions as a community. Thank you for your time.